Jay here for Stretford, Paddock, and this is a special video looking at Jadon Sancho, or Jason Sanchez, as he likes to be called. And who better to do this video with me than the Housewives' favourite, Alex Bagley. How are we doing, Baggers?
I'm good, mate. I'm very, very good.
I feel like me and you haven't done a video in months.
Been ages, hasn't it?
Together.
Been ages.
It's been too long.
There's all sorts. We've been dead good, dead bad, and then we beat Ammonia last night, which we don't really know what that means, to be honest.
It's like you've won in Europe away from home, but you've also had to come from behind to a team ranked 242nd in the world.
Mad. But
not great, is it?
No.
A hot topic, obviously, is Jadon Sancho. On paper, you can look at it, he's not having a bad season. He's got, I think, 3 goals this season. We scored against Leicester, scored against Liverpool, scored against Sheriff as well. He's been playing a lot. He's been starting a lot of games. He started 10 games so far, I think, or played 10 games so far this season. But there are issues there. He keeps getting substituted. He has had a few games where he's been almost completely anonymous. He wasn't great against a poor Ammonia team. Although he wasn't alone, he didn't cover himself in glory in the derby. Just what have you made of Jadon Sancho's season so far? It's
been weird because I think that pre-season, I think sat here with Steve going, who's going to be our early player of the season shouts after pre-season? Who do you think? And I think Jadon Sancho was up there for both of us, just with how he looked on that pre-season. It looked like you'd got that Rashford, Martial, Sancho front three that I think we've been talking about for a long time, that had clicked and that was what it was going to be. And he started the season well. I think in the first 2 games there wasn't many good performers, but since then, obviously the goal against Liverpool, I think he's looked really sharp in the other games. But I do think there's this bit of, if he's not getting on the ball, if things aren't going right, he does just become very anonymous in the game. You can almost excuse the derby. That was a tough day for any wingers. It was a lot of running back. Maybe he got the selection wrong in that game. Maybe you needed someone that, like an Alanga, that was going to do more going back than he was going forward. But I think you're right. That Ammonia game last night, those were the games that Jadon Sancho was meant to thrive in terms of you're against a team that's sat back, someone to unlock you. That's what you've signed Jadon Sancho for. And it just looked really poor. And I think there was no excuses with who he had around him. Cristiano Ronaldo hasn't had his best season, but you have a very good number 9 there that if you give him chances, usually you should take them. Bruno Fernandes there. He's had a left back that he's played a lot of games with. Anton on the other side. It's a strong team to be playing alongside. And it just didn't click for him at all. And it is a bit worrying with him getting dragged off. And also a bit worrying for him personally, how much better we looked in that second half with Rashford on the left and Anton on the right. It's going to be tough for him, I think, to get back into that team.
What did you make of his season last season? Because obviously he should have been the marquee signing. It was the one we've been chasing after for so long. We finally got the deal done. Yes, we bring in Varane, but it's like he's here. Jadon Sancho's finally here. Then you get Ronaldo coming in. Everything's like all about Ronaldo. But what did you make of his season? Because it felt like everyone had a bad season, so no one's really looking at him too much. But were his performances good enough for you on the whole?
I don't think they were. But again, coming from Germany, there aren't many players, especially in the wide positions, that come in and do it straight away. You looked at Jack Grealish last season. Was it a Premier League player? Struggled to get the numbers for Manchester City and also looked poor at times. But I think the problem was when you've not got players around you playing well and you get forced into a team, you're going to look bad and there's nowhere to hide. He wasn't good enough last season, but you were expecting him to kick on. And you looked at the start of this season, you went, he looks fitter, he looks sharper, he will kick on. The worry is that it seems to have regressed a little bit in these last couple of weeks. Now, it's only a couple of games, but there is that point that you've said. It's that when he's not playing well, it looks awful. It's not a Marcus Rashford. He's not playing well, he'll score you a goal. It's not an Anthony who's not, I don't think, had the greatest of starts, but has looked sharp every time he's got the ball, beats a man, has had shots on target, and you look at him and you go, if that keeper last night doesn't save that one to go in top corner, that's a great goal again. Yeah. I feel like Sancho can go missing a bit, and that's the worry for me at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at last season, his stats, I think it was 38 games he played for Manchester United, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's already got 3 goals this season. So certainly in terms of productivity, this season he has been scoring more goals and important goals as well. Obviously the winner in Leicester and the goal against Liverpool in particular.
Yeah.
In terms of his performances, though, just put stats on the side for a minute. Do you think he's fitting into this system? Because We do see, you mentioned there, Marcus comes on for him against Ammonia. There's that quick pace not counter-attacking because they were sort of sitting back a lot, but we're getting in behind. You can see the likes of Anthony and Marcus and Martial when he came on, bursting forward. Sometimes I feel like Jadon Sancho, he's not the quickest and he gets left behind a little bit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I do think, he's not that kind of player. I think people looking at him to be that direct player that Marcus Rashford is, that quick winger. Even he's not... You look at Anthony, who's someone that wants to beat a man and get a shot off quickly and things like that. That's not what you signed Jadon Sancho for. I think anyone that watched him in Germany says that, it was that interplay he did a lot with Haaland and Bellingham and those kind of players. That's where he looks best. Now, maybe this has been the story of Manchester United signings all the way through. Maybe it's a signing we've made with a plan, and then that plan has changed within 6 games. And that seems to what happened. The plan was he was going to come in and play off the right, Marcus off the left, and then Martial through the middle. And then you sign Ronaldo, and all of a sudden that's not working now. And you've got Jadon Sancho playing off the left most of the time. Rashford playing on the right, you saw a lot last season. You've now seen this season, okay, that was the plan in pre-season where it was Jadon Sancho on the right, Martial through the middle, Rashford on the left. Then 3 games in, you've got Sancho on the left, Anthony on the right, and so it's all changed again.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a problem with the players around him, but at the same time, there are players that haven't had the players around. We've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot with Paul Pogba. You saw Bruno Fernandes in with the right players around him. Maybe not. He performed and did that, and you always saw something from him. Same thing with Marcus Rashford. He's nearly at 100 goals for Manchester United in one of our worst periods ever, and you can't argue with that. With those numbers, you know that you're going to get a shift out of him a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's the thing with Jadon Sancho is you're not always getting those things, and it's the question now is he now behind a Marcus Rashford? Is he behind an Ante on that right hand side? Because it looks like he's kind of got that place. He played every game since he's come in on that right hand side. He's got to be ahead of one of those players. Now, does he do that? That's the big question. Will he step up and do that?
Just looking at his stats, so we're going to look. Yeah, you've got carries, I think 34.37 per 90, which is the 50th percent. Progressive carries 6.84 per 90, 74%. Carries into the final third, 1.66 per 90, 46%. Dribbles attempted, 2.77 per 90, 54%. Dribbles completed, 1.48 per 90, which is the 50%. Those aren't numbers where you go, wow, this is a kid that's flying. And I know, stats don't tell you the whole picture. Moving forward, just with what we've seen last season, this season, and some of the stats we've spoken about, do you feel that Jadon Sancho will or can work in this system? And, do you feel like maybe the critics are being a little bit too harsh on him?
I think what you've seen, look, in Germany, how good he was, I don't think that player disappears. And there's a technical player there that you've seen that it's not just going to go away. There's a player there. The question is Martial the key to all this? Because that's been the big change in all this. I think he's looked his best with Martial on the pitch, but so has Marcus Rashford, at times, especially in pre-season and this season. So is that the change that's going to do it? Does he fit in on the right instead of Anthony? Does he fit in the left instead of Marcus Rashford? Because it looks like it's going to be Martial through the middle when he's fit, or even Ronaldo. So that's the question. Are those players going to be the ones, again, I hate to unlock Jadon Sancho again and make him the player it is. I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping that as these front 5 or 6 players get more used to Erik ten Hag's system and all that. And also you've got to mention the changes behind him. You know, I think he was building a bit of a relationship with Diogo Dalot, then he gets moved to the left-hand side and he's playing a few games with Luke Shaw, then Malacia comes in and now Luke Shaw looks to be coming back into the team as well. There's a lot of things have changed in the United team. And I think that we need to get a settled team. I think you need to get comfortable with any kind of partnership that does come out there. I think Jadon Sancho will come good. I maybe don't think he's going to hit the heights this season that we all kind of saw in pre-season. We thought he's going to be one of the best players. But we need to have a squad of players that perform well. It can't just be 1 or 2. We can't rely on Marcus Rashford, Martial and Anthony. You have to have all those 6 players in them front line, contribute this season.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Hopefully, we'll see more from Jadon Sancho. It's been a bit of a mixed bag. Get involved in the comments in the chat. Let us know what you think about Jadon Sancho's season so far, about his season last season. And are you concerned, or do you think people who are criticising him, because there has been some criticism on social media. I know you get criticism of everyone on social media, but is that a little bit harsh? Make sure you go and check out Alex Bagley on his socials. What's your socials?
Baggers_Alex.
You know where to find him. You know where to find me as well. This has been a special look at Jadon Sancho, or Jason Sanchez, as he's known. Thanks for watching.